Isaac Dogboe burst onto the boxing scene earlier this year when he sensationally knocked out Jesse Magdalena, becoming WBO World Super Bantamweight Champion.
And he gets him with a big right hand!
The London-based Ghanaian has won all 20 professional fights and become one of the most talked about world champions in the sport. Next year he is looking to unify the 122-pound division and cement his legacy as a ring great. BoxNation is his British fights home, and recently he took time to speak to the Channel of Champions. I'm Steve Lillis, and this is BoxNation Meets Isaac Dogboe. Isaac, thanks for joining us on BoxNation to discuss your journey so far that's taken you from Ghana to South London to America to New Zealand, Switzerland, Belfast. Start by telling us about growing up in Ghana as a young child.
You know, first of all, thank you also for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to, to have great interview with BoxNation. You guys have been great. Everything, I always say we give all the glory to the Almighty God, because without him, none of this would be possible. And, boxing for me started from England, London. I'm a South London boy, but though I was born in Ghana, I left Ghana as a young, at a very young age. Then I was about 8, around that time, yeah. So, initially, I moved from there to join my father here in England, and since then, when I was about 14 years old, I got into boxing, and it's been history.
So what do you remember about being a youngster though in Ghana? Was it with your grandfather you lived there?
Yeah, I lived with my grandparents, and it was great. I mean, when you're young, you don't really have to worry about anything. You go to school, you come back, and you just play, you study, you do what you have to do, and then afterwards, But coming to London, kind of like, to stay with my father, kind really shaped me into, the person that I am today.
Yeah. What were the raw links you had with Ghana? Was it through your grandfather?
Yes, I come from one of the royal families in Ghana. That's the Royal Badu family of Anyako in the Volta region. Ghana is divided into sub-regions. You have the Ashanti region, the northern region, you have the Volta region, and I'm from the Volta region. And my royal heritage is from the Volta region.
So you're boxing royalty then?
Yeah.
So your first impressions of London when you come here at 8 years of age?
I think when I came, I think it was around September, if I can recall, and it was quite chilly. it was a little bit cold, and it wasn't as I imagined it, because all the pictures you see all the, tall buildings, and then later on, when he took me around London, and I started wow, this is such a beautiful place, and yeah, since then, it's just been great.
What was it like for you as a young boy coming from Africa, mixing at school?
I think when I started secondary school, it was quite tough because, I had a very thick accent, and most of my peers, they used to laugh at me. And I remember there was one time where, some guys wanted to fight with me, and it was sort of like my father said to me that make sure you don't fight at all costs. You shouldn't fight at all. That's not good. If anybody does something to you, report it to the teacher. This, that, that. And then one time, I went to school, and then these guys, they surrounded me, and they just pushed me to the middle of the crowd, and another guy too, just like, you should fight. And they said people from Africa, they are very strong, so you guys should fight. And damn, I was just there. This guy was just showing boxing moves. All I had to do was just keep my hand up. And I came home, and he beat me up bad. He beat me up silly. I had a black eye, I had blood shots on my eyes and everything. I went home, and my father said to me, what happened to you? And I said, some guys, they wanted to fight with me, so they made a circle, they pushed me in the circle, and then they told us to fight. And he said, so why didn't you fight back? And I said, Daddy, you told me not to fight at all costs. So I just stood there and took a beating. But I mean, it was a learning process, you know. But I think boxing really kind of like redirected all the energy that, you know, a young person will have into doing something positive. Yeah.
After that beating, is that when you took up boxing?
No, I was actually training. I was already training in, my father was always training in Kennington Park, you know, so it was always a matter of, you know, he always telling me that, look, once you start boxing, there's certain things you cannot do outside of boxing because now you're training in a combat sport, in a combat sports. So there's certain things that you shouldn't be doing at all. And yeah, it was, I mean, I really, it took a while for him to get me into boxing, but I'm glad that I listened and I got the job done.
What did people think of seeing you in Kennington Park? I guess you were quite small there, seeing a small British African guy doing boxing training in the middle of the park. I mean, I know you see it all the time now in London. It's sort of trendy for people to do pads in a park, but you know, 15 years ago it wasn't.
You know, a lot of people used to kind of like say to my father, you know, we used to get quite an audience, you know, because I always like, it was consistent, you know, every time after school, you know, my father and I would be in the park, we'd doing pad works, we'd be training and doing stuff, and people would come, others would be saying, oh, you're training your boy too much, he's too young, let him be a child, let him enjoy himself, and let him go and play with his friends and, you know, go and things like that, you know. But, and I see, it was this Dean Powell, you know, he became a very good friend of ours because he used to always run in Kennington Park, and he used to always tell me that, man, he used to always come to my father and say to him that, your son one day is going to be who I'm going to retire with, you know, and he used to always encourage me that I should keep training hard, I'm going to be a world champion one day and stuff. I mean, he was a very great friend to us, and you know, it was sad. I mean, it's sad that he's not here to see the greatness that we have achieved in our careers, and you know, I really wish him that may his soul rest in perfect peace, you know.
Yeah, so you were close to Dean, but Dean would encourage you to box. One person in your life who I don't think encouraged you to box was your grandfather. Yeah. What did he think when you took up boxing? Because he had this plan for you, didn't need to go to university and be a scholar.
You see, the thing in boxing, in Ghana, the way boxing has been portrayed, it's been portrayed in a way such that they think boxing is for people who are dropouts, you know, people, the less privileged people, if that makes sense. And so when you're boxing, you know, it doesn't really sit well in most people's, in their minds, you know, because it hasn't been branded in a way that it should, you know. But so when I was going to Olympics, you know, my grandfather phoned my father and said to him that, what is going on? Why are you letting my grandson go do boxing? What is it that you need? Is it money that you need? What is it? Tell me, I'll give it to you. Let him go to school. Don't let him do boxing and things. My father was telling me that he was literally crying on the phone to him. And my father said to him that, look, he's going to school, he's doing well in school, and he's also doing well in boxing. You have no need to worry. You know, he's going to finish his college, and he's going to go to university and, you know, get the necessary things done in appropriate ways. And yeah, so my father made him a promise, and you know, it was you know, something that we have to stick by, you know. So he sorted, I finished secondary school, I finished college, and now, God willing, I'm preparing to go to university. So which is, and I'm a world champion, so it seems like everything is just falling in place, and we can only say we give thanks to God.
So going back to you touched on the Olympics there, was boxing for Ghana the natural route given your family heritage, or was it because, you know, Team GB already had their squad?
You know, the thing was, Team GB said to me, we spoke to the amateur president of ABA, and he said, you know, they had already done their selection, although I was in the development squad. And at the time I'd won, I think, 2 ABAs, yeah. And they said, they've already done their selection. Luke Campbell has been there, quite for some years now. Because they do their selection, I think, way before the time. But he said to me I should wait until 2016 that I got. But then, Olympic Games was happening in London, and it was such a great event that I just had to be part of it.
So when you went to the Olympics and you lost that, let's say, debatable, controversial decision for Satoshi Shimizu, what was your emotions when that decision went against you, given that most people thought you won the fight?
It was crazy. I mean, that isn't the word that can describe it. I remember I was walking out the arena and people were cheering for me, and tears were just running down my eyes, and I just cried my way the whole day. I think like for 3 days I didn't leave my room.
Was it an easy decision then to turn professional?
It was one thing my father did was that after the Olympic Games, he put me into the ABAs, the senior elites, and I won the ABAs at lightweight. At the time, I was so downhearted that, so I think the right thing for him to do, that's what he did, put him into the ABAs, early ABAs, straight away. And it was a great achievement.
Tell us about your relationship with Paul Dogboe.
Wow, this is a question nobody else has ever asked me before, to describe my father. My father is a very straightforward person, When when it comes to protecting his family, he would die for his family. That's the sort of man he is. So we've been through a lot of challenges. I can only say that I'm very, very grateful for all the sacrifices that he's done, with me and everything that he continues to do to this day. I mean, he's a man of vision. I didn't get up and just got into boxing just like that. He got me into boxing. Everything that I've achieved in my lifetime has been because of my father's influence.
In your early career, you boxed Belfast, Switzerland, USA. You went back to Ghana before you had breakout fights. And then the first time we saw you on BoxNation was when you boxed in Auckland against, was it Julian Aristula?
Yeah. Was
that a landmark fight for you because it was quite a big top rank were involved in?
Oh yeah, it was a great exposure as well. That was my first time in New Zealand. New Zealand was so beautiful, and then, at the time we wanted to fight Oscar Valdez because I was in featherweight, and he was a champion, and so we wanted to lobby for the fight. But so when we got there, they were like, you know what? There's a title vacant at super bantamweight. That was I think the WBO international belt. So we said, yeah, why not? We'll do it. We'll take it. And that was it. So the Aristides team were there, and they were like, yeah, we would like to fight him. No, why not? No problem. Our man is ready. We just said, yeah, I'm also ready. So let's get on. So right there and then, contract was signed, everything was done, and yeah, we're on the bill in New Zealand. Yep.
And then you went back to Ghana then for a couple of fights against Shakan and Cesar Juarez.
Yeah.
Was your name getting bigger in Ghana then? What was it like going back there to box after having the couple smaller fights there early in your career?
Me going back to Ghana was all, a blessing and a curse in a way, because back in 2015, my grandfather passed away. At the time I was in Los Angeles. And I can recall my father, I think my father was in London at the time. He was coming back to Los Angeles, and he phoned me and he was sobbing on the phone. And I was like, I was asking him, Daddy, what's going on? What's happening? At that time, he just said to me, it's Grandpa. You know, I just received a phone call and he's passed away. And I think it was around like 3 a.m. in Los Angeles. And I was like, whoa. You know, I don't know, for some reason, I just lost it. You know, I just crying, and it was crazy. So everything kind of like, I came to London, and then straight away I went to Ghana. You know, did the burial and everything. And my father was like, you know what, since we're here, why don't we have one fight to see how things are? And one fight, you know, turned into 2 fights, and yeah, it kind of like builds on. You're like, you know what, there's a vacant WB Africa title, why don't you fight for it? And you know, that was what the guy I fought was, he's called a Ghanaian guy, George Cramper. And at the time, in the Ghana people, you know, the boxing community, they're like, you know, they just used to see things as, I come from England, I'm a Londoner, so I cannot come to Ghana and take a title from Ghana. You know, so it was that sort of like competition. You know, it was really, really tough. And you had to fight your way through the boxing communities and stuff. So yeah, and this guy, he was tough and strong, and yeah, and me, a little guy, you know, coming to Ghana. And what was great, was a great fight. I think that was a fight that kind of like really changed the minds of people in Ghana.
And also, you're the Royal Storm, but boxing royalty, Azumar Nelson has blessed you as well, hasn't he?
Oh, he's been a great friend, yeah, to us.
April, Magdalena, you was the underdog. Look, few people were expecting you to win. Just talk us through the fight from hitting the floor in the first round to your celebration at the end.
Oh man, it was, I don't know, going into the fight, it was exhilarating in a way, because, you know, it's Magdalena. I had previously sparred Magdalena in Vegas, you know, and he was talking so much crap, you know, he was, you know, sending in memes and things for how he's gonna sweep my hair, he's mop me out of the ring, and he's gonna knock me out, he's gonna beat my ass, and all sort of things. But it was funny, because going into the ring, you know, within me, I knew I was gonna stop him. You know, within myself, I knew I was gonna stop him, because I knew that we've tested his pulse, and I've really, you know, my father always says that if you want to beat me up, you have to beat me the first time we meet. After that, it's over. Because for some reason, I'm able to adapt to every style that comes my way. And yeah, I wasn't expecting to go down the first round, but I went down, I got back up, and I just shook my head, and I was like, nah, this cannot happen. This cannot happen. And at that same instant, you know, I just wanted to put him down as well. My father was able to calm me down, just giving me instructions, telling me, you know, I should move around, I shouldn't stay there with him, I should just use my boxing ability, and, you know, stuff like that. It was just instrumental, you know, instructions.
Well, that win against Magdalena made you the world champion. Everything was bright. The first defence against Takeo, you were expected to win, but not in 2 minutes, were you?
No, you know, we knew we had a lot of respect for Takeo. Takeo was very, very rugged, you know. We know he took Scott Quigg to 12 rounds, you know, 12 hard rounds, and, you know, we knew his style of fighting. And yeah, he kind of like, we envisioned him fighting like Cesar Juarez, you know, because after I stopped Juarez was also another cracker. You know, he just likes to come forward, he just throws everything, you know, that he's got. And yeah, we had to take him out, and it was surprising, because I didn't think, we prepared our mind and everything for a long night, you know, but it was great, you know, that we were able to take him out in round 1.
And next up, Navarrete.
Navarrete.
New York, Usain Bill's Lomachenko.
Yep.
What's going to happen in that fight? Is it another 2-minute job?
It's gonna be a great fight. You know, I have a lot of respect for Emmanuel Navarrete. You know, he's highly rated. You know, he's got a great record. He's a great fighter. He can fight, and he's someone that fights almost like Cesar Juarez. You know, he's one of the few Mexican fighters who are willing to fight anyone as well. You know, so it'll be a great fight. And I mean, I'm very glad that from South London, I've made it to the Madison Square Garden. It can't get any better than this, you know. It's gonna be a great night of boxing.
Perhaps it can get better by unifying titles. What's your opinion of the other champions, Daniel Roman, TJ Dehaney?
You know, the thing with the other champions, right? They are all, well, most of them are Mexicans. Roman and Vargas are Mexicans. And when you look at Mexican history, most of their legends, you know, those guys were willing to fight anyone, you know. But nowadays, it seems like as if someone seems that they can't fight, they can't beat you, they're not willing to take that risk, you know. But then they keep talking.
It was like Ray Vargas.
That's what's happening with Danny Roman, and on all platforms he keeps calling my name, but nothing is happening. So why call my name if you're not going to do anything? You know, so that's one thing. But you know, I have a lot of respect for them because they're world champions. But look, the fans want to see great fights. You know, let's make this happen. You are a champion, I'm a champion. That's what makes the division exciting. That's what's going to create. That's what's going to create more attention into the division. It's going to bring more people, you know, to see that, wow, this is the ultimate champion, this is the undisputed champion. So let's make it happen. You know, you have the likes of Juan Manuel Marquez. You know, these guys who are willing to fight anyone. You have people like, you know, Canelo. You know, they'll fight anyone, unless you don't call them. You know, so let's make the fight happen. You know, the same way that the welterweight is exciting. The same way that the super bantamweight too has to be exciting. So it's all about making the great fights. You know, champion versus champion. You know, highly rated fighters fighting other highly rated fighters, and that's the only way that we can, you know, change the image of boxing and just, you know, keep it exciting.
I mean, you're pretty sure you're 5'4", 5'4",
5'3.5".
5'3.5".
Yeah. The half is very important.
Makes a difference, I know. Are you tall enough to go and compete with the best featherweights? Can you go back to featherweight, or is that not on the agenda?
Of
I mean,
course.
because you talk about the best fight in the best you've got Frampton fighting Warrington soon. You know they're all going good fights, these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was a featherweight before I moved down.
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering, were you featherweight just to get fights? I'm just wondering, is your height going to count against these guys?
Well, the height has never been a problem. You know, even in the super bantamweight division, all the guys I fight, most of them are there. And sometimes I find myself going like, looking up at them like this. And I think to myself like, wow, you know. But I mean, the aim is to unify the division first. I think the first person I'm going to go after is a person that has the world title, and that's Oscar Valdez. You know, it seems like the Mexicans are coming for me, and I'm also going for them. You know, so yeah, it makes sense.
You're still only 24, baby, really, aren't you? You look about 15. How much more can you achieve?
My beard is growing, you know.
How much more can you achieve?
You know, I think the world is my oyster right now. My father always tells me that you've got everything going well on for you. Your age, you are the right age. Right now, you are the youngest world champion in the world. You know, you've got great support. You know, you've got a great fan base. You know, you're being recognized around the globe. So there's a lot to be achieved. There's a lot to work for. All we have to do is just keep the focus, keep the hunger, and just keep crushing our opponents. You know, that's what we say. Neho.
Tell us about Neho.
Yeah, we're just going on about uprooting everyone that they put in front of us. You know, just take them out. You know, just pull them down and, you know, just pull them off the ground and just destroy them. And just keep walking forward, you know. And that's all we can do at this moment, you know, just work hard, work, and go out there, just put everything that you've learned out there, and you know that God is going to see you through.
On Saturday, December 8, Dogboe makes the second defence of his world title at New York's Madison Square Garden, on the same bill as Vasyl Lomachenko's unmissable world lightweight title unification against Jose Pedraza.
Hello, I'm Isaac Royal Storm Dogboe. Watch me live on BoxNation December 8. No! Ah!